1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader when the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Yeah.
Drug addicts.
Yeah. I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle. I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle. Yeah. I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle. Had to pray to Almighty God, they let my dog out the kennel. When you get it straight up out the mud, you can't imagine it. I've been pulling up in the drop tops with the baddest. Young been focused on my check. Got a new coupe wrapped around my neck. Tryna put the water on my protect. I got killers to the left of me.
We was lurking on her, ain't show no mercy on her. We was going back to back, we put a curfew on her. It was dark clouds on us, but that was perfect for us. We know you always crash and burn, but it was working for us. Let my tent to B12, double check the details. Gotta cross my T's and dot my I's or I can't sleep well. Millions off from retail, once again I prevail. Knew that was over from the day I dropped my pre-sale.
Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the show where we hit all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I, of course, am your host, Jill Munroe. And on this good Tuesday, I hope that you are relaxed, you are comfortable, and ready to get into the topics for the evening. Of course, before we do, let me remind you that you can add a visual to this audio experience by hitting up the YouTube chat. It's always active. You can follow us on social media everywhere, KBLA 1580. Hit me up at Stiletto Jill. And if at any point during this conversation you want to add your 2 cents, call us, 800-920-1580. We would love to hear from you. There's also an app. You can download that, get into it, listen at your leisure, all of that good stuff. So let me let you know what we are going to be getting into this evening because it's a good one. It's a lot. And real quick, shout out to that Nipsey Rocks in the middle. Always got to give it up to Nip, So tonight, Married to Medicine. It is a popular Bravo show. It features doctors, both male and female. And recently, an old clip has resurfaced of one of the doctors on there, Dr. Jackie. She's an obstetrician and gynecologist. And she says that when Black women go to the doctor, they have to stop being so dramatic and exaggerating their pain. We're going to get into, was that responsible as a comment to make as a doctor, knowing the Black woman's mortality rate when it comes to childbirth and all the healthcare issues that Black women run up against? Is that something that, we need to be putting out into the atmosphere? We're also sticking with a reality TV show theme. Going to get into a new castmate on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Anne-Marie Wiley. She is the wife of former NFL star Marcellus Wiley. And on the show, she recently revealed that Marcellus said that he married her because she's an 8 all around. She's not a smart 10, a couple of other things. We'll get into the comments specifically, but we heard Stephen A. say just a week ago that men should pursue a strong 7 because there's room to grow. And I want to get into, is the rating system outdated? Should we still be applying these things? Do they matter? Do we really utilize that when we're picking a mate? So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into, Rihanna had a party last night, y'all, out here in LA. And she revealed a couple of things on the red carpet in interviews. But one of them was her biggest fashion ick. So I want to get into that and a little bit about what you think she means by it. Spoiler alert, it's nothing too bad, you guys, but I want to talk about it. We're also going to have a little Dwight Howard update. He has released a statement through his lawyer. We have a Lizzo update, lots of legal updates. Seems like the end of the year has really been, law and order heavy. Lots and lots of civil and criminal situations. We are a litigious society, so, we get it in. We also have a Jeffrey Epstein update. Not sure if you're familiar with that case, but we'll get into a little bit about what that case is, and a ruling that has come down that has some people pique their interest. And there is a former NFL player that was arrested for robbing and stealing at gas stations. Strong-armed robbery. Hit a few around the city, so we're going to give you details on that, plus more, the trending topics and headlines. But before we get into all of that, that we have to discuss a few conversation starters. These are topics, things that we don't have enough time to get into all of the way, but because I want to keep you in the know, you need to be aware. So first up, are you into the Greyhound bus? Have you ever taken a Greyhound bus? A lot of people utilize it for transportation. There's people that don't fly. It's cheaper. It sometimes goes to cities that, may not regularly be serviced. Well, there's an increasing problem facing the 60 million people that depend on Greyhound buses, right? Not just Greyhound, Travelways, Megabus, etc. They're really a key part of our transportation system, right? They carry twice the number of people who get on Amtrak every year, right? And they hit up various spots, like I said, that aren't normally necessarily serviced to other areas. Well, a bunch of cities have started closing the terminals. They're rapidly closing and being bought up by real estate developers. So terminals in Houston, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Tampa, Louisville, Charlottesville, Portland, Oregon, that is, and other downtown depots have closed down in recent years. There are hubs like Chicago and Dallas that are going to be closing in the near future. And a lot of the companies have relocated their stops far away from city centers, and they're not accessible to the general public. They're doing it because of high operating costs, government underfunding, and hedge fund buyers buying up the real estate. So what's going to happen next? We're going to get into a little bit more about that. And of course, we're going to get into Dr. Jackie's comments on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
We hope you have a safe and relaxing holiday season.
Mask up and stay safe.
At KBLA Talk 1580,
we've got a lot to talk about.
And your voice is critical to all the conversation. Happy holidays. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now there are medicines that can treat COVID, whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the AmeriCAN Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the AmeriCAN program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The AmeriCAN Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriCANCommunity.partners. That's AmeriCANCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So prior to our information break, we were getting into the closure of certain Greyhound terminals. What I can also mention is that for the last year, Greyhound suspended service in cities like Jackson, Mississippi, which we know is predominantly black, also Little Rock, Arkansas. So it is impacting us. Not very many other options. So just something that you want to keep your eye on, because as we expand, we are becoming more closed off in certain ways. So in addition to that, do you have any dealings with Infinity? A security breach has been exposed, and the personal data of nearly all of Infinity's provider of, they provide the internet. All of their customers, all 36 million people, including account usernames, passwords, answers to their security questions, etc., has been breached and is online. So if you were involved with that, you had dealings with them, you might want to check your passwords, update them. Now's a good time. It's the end of the year. I know it's cumbersome. This is an interesting thing, because for me, for years, I was fearful about how I kept my passwords. Like, I didn't feel comfortable putting them in my phone because I was like, what if somebody hacks my phone? For a while, I started putting them as like contacts in my contact thing, but then I got confused because I couldn't find them sometimes. So how do you keep up with your passwords? I know our computers keep them, our phones keep them, but do you have a written list someplace? Do you keep a spreadsheet? I had a spreadsheet for a minute, but then again, that got confusing. So, I feel it. Shout out to Terry. He is in the chat. He wants me to make sure that I mention, and I don't have all the details of it, but I know that there was a vote that happened in Colorado that means that Donald Trump will not be included on the ballot for presidential election next year. Again, I don't know the details. I saw something flash across my screen. I didn't get involved in all of that, but I know that one of the wonderful shows on the station, they will get into it and provide you with the accurate commentary that you need to fulfill you in that manner. Okay. So I appreciate you though, Terry. And, anything that puts Trump on his heels, we appreciate, right? Because we're not playing those games again. Some people are. Shout out to Tubi. They have announced a partnership with the WNBA. They will be creating documentary series that will highlight the lives of the WNBA players. They're going to start with players like Breanna Stewart, Cheryl Swoops, who obviously is a legend, and a bunch more. It's called Shattered Glass. There's also going to be a documentary, that is called Shattered Glass, a WNBPA story, which is the Women's National Basketball Players Association, which is the union that supports the players that are in the WNBA. We've heard a lot about the NBPA with the NBA players, NFL, etc. Every professional sports league has a separate union. So interested to see the development. The league has been in effect for a little over 25 years at this point, and we've seen a great deal of change, excitement around the games, and a changing attitude approach it. So we'll see what comes from Tubi. I'm telling you guys, people laugh at Tubi, but they forget one, Tubi is owned by Fox. So it's backed by big dollars, right? You don't realize that Fox bought into Tubi some time ago. So if you are a filmmaker, right, this is just a suggestion. I have no dealings with Tubi, although we do our Tubi movie reviews. That's just fun. But they are putting a lot of money into emerging audiences, new filmmakers, things of that nature. Tap in now before you know how it goes. They utilize us to build it up, and then next thing you know, crickets. Andy?
It would be Fox to own a network like Tubi that airs a lot of ratchetness.
So here's the thing. Tubi is very diverse. What has gotten popular, is the ratchet nature of those films, and that's a genre. They also have a heavy faith-based section in there, right? They have an LB, you guys know, and this is no disrespect, I might forget a letter, but you get what I'm saying. They have LBTQ, right?
LG.
Okay, I'm forgetting. How can I forget the G? That's the obvious one. At any rate, because I'm women first always. I'm joking. But they do, and they are investing in other areas. We talked about this briefly the other day. They've done a deal with DC Comics to air a lot of their content there in first run format. So listen, they have this section, yes, but they are doing some other things. And Tubi is up to 75 million active subscribers, or users, I should say. 75 active users per month. That's a lot of reach, a lot of eyeballs, So I would pay attention to the moves that are being made. That is more than some traditional networks and cable networks get as far as viewership. And listen, things are changing. So if you choose to just stick with the rache of it, right, then that's all you're going to see, right? But you can venture off into other areas. They do licensing deals, so you can find your old TV shows there, your old movies, right? So, I don't know, venture out, get into it. And if you are a filmmaker of some sort, maybe dive in, because they are giving dollars to individuals that are, producing films and stuff. There's a process, of course, and different things, but look into it. Andy?
I was going to say, shout out to Peacock. I don't know if they've done a deal with some of these Tubi flicks, but this past weekend I came across this one. I believe it's a series called The Dirty D. I don't know if you've heard about it.
The Dirty D. Did we talk about that on here?
I'm wondering if y'all did, because I'm over here watching it with my lady, and I'm just like, this is like a bootleg P-Valley or something like that. But it was,
So yes, The Dirty D.
It was quite captivating.
Was on Tubi first.
Yeah.
And then it got licensed over there. We did talk about it. We talked about it. That was one of the first, honestly, Tubi things that we discussed on our Tubi feature night. So
okay. I'm late to the game. I was just surprised to see that type of content on Peacock. And as I'm watching it for the first time, I'm just like, why does this look like something that would be on Tubi? And then when I went ahead and did my research or whatnot, apparently it was on Tubi that was transferred on to Peacock. So I don't know, maybe Peacock is trying to take some of Tubi's steam a little bit.
Well, I think just naturally, you think about one of the top series that aired on Peacock. It's two of them in the most recent times have been what? The Best Man, The Final Chapters, and Bel Air. So they've had other successes, but and listen, the Bravo shows, Married to Medicine, which we're going to talk a little bit about, the Real Housewives shows, all of those are also on Peacock. So again, when you look at the positioning, there are some things that are happening that you can ignore, you can bypass, or you can figure out how to make it work for you. Fahima in the chat says Tubi isn't ratchet. Their programming is quite diverse. It is. They are known right now amongst us for a certain type of programming. But I think the flip side of that is there's an audience, just like those bootleg DVDs. There was an audience for back in the day, straight to VHS movies, etc. And it's giving young filmmakers of varied skills, right, opportunity. So it's what you make of it. You have a choice. When you log in, you can choose whatever you want to watch. If you want to stick with old classic sitcoms, you can do that. If you want to look at faith-based stuff, you can do that. Right now, they have a bunch of Christmas movies on deck. Do you remember back in the day when there was only one or two Christmas movies and we watched the Peanuts and Rudolph and all of that over and over again? Now there is so much. Everybody has their own little version of Christmas, which makes sense because we all do, but just an observation. So, get into it. Tubi is branching off, and look, they're tapping into the WNBA, which is an untapped market, which is looking for more airspace. People are interested and looking for ways to get into the players. It's an emerging market itself, so you never know what can develop from that. Good luck to them. Appreciate it. And we'll still check out our little Rache involvements every now and again. Okay, so listen. Dr. Jackie of Married to Medicine. She is under a bit of fire. These are resurfaced comments that she made on an Instagram Live with Dr. Heavenly. I'm not sure the date that this actually aired, but basically she's a gynecologist and obstetrician. So she works with, we assume her clientele might be mixed, but we assume there's a great deal of Black women that are in her client base. And during this particular live, she had a conversation on Black women and health when they are going to the doctor. I'm assuming she's specifically talking about within pregnancy, but it might extend to other areas. So let's take a listen.
Sometimes as African American women, we're a bit more dramatic in that you go to the doctor and you complain and you complain and you complain, and you're not taken serious because you cried wolf the entire pregnancy.
That ain't me, boo. I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
I didn't say you. I just said as African American women, we want to also make sure you're being serious with your doctor and not playing the game so I can take you off work. Because then we see you 25 times in the pregnancy. It's hard to believe that there's a true problem when there's a true problem.
So I get it. I understand. There are always people that are going to try and game the system, try and get around the system, try to get over, how can I do this? Ooh, can I extend my time? Whatever. And I'm not trying to say that Black women are excluded from that group or that they would not be, like some others, on occasion be involved in that, right? However, with the mortality rate that we have for Black women as far as birth, for the amount of times we hear about Black women being ignored, about their pain. There's been studies done about not just Black women, but since we're specifically talking about them in this instance, about Black women and doctors not wanting to give them pain medication because they think that oh, they have the potential to, they're just trying to get it to use it because they have a drug problem or things of that nature, and their pain is bypassed, or serious illness or disease is ignored because they believe that they are exaggerating their pain. I think that it is a scary thing to hear from another Black woman. And, a little bit, dangerous is a strong word, but we are talking about life or death situations. She wasn't per se. She's talking about maybe the women that are trying to, skip around and get on. However, she has a large platform. And as a Black woman who is in that field, it kind of feels like she should have been maybe a little more careful or offered a little bit more explanation as far as her words. Andy, why are you laughing at me? Are you disagreeing with me?
I'm disagreeing with you.
Why?
I hear and understand your point, but I think you explained it before you got to where you had the issue. And I think what you said initially, I think she's talking about them people who's trying to hustle the system.
Right.
And that's it. Should she have offered more of an explanation? I don't know, maybe. But, I don't think she's wrong in her statement.
Again, I don't think she's wrong. I understood where she's coming from. But I just think that for example, we heard about recently Judge Hackett, right? Her daughter-in-law died after being ignored by Cedars-Sinai, allegedly. We know that there is a civil case involved in that where she hemorrhaged to death, right? And she's become an advocate for maternal health, things of that nature, as well as, her son. And there's been other cases and things that we can talk about. Even Serena Williams talked about when she was going through her pregnancies, having to really get into her doctor. So I get it. And I understand the hustle and I understand the thing, but I do think in healthcare, there are certain stereotypes that even our own will put on us as far as what we're looking for and the health situation. And I just think it's dire because we are so underserved in that area. And, I just think that it's tricky. Again, not saying I don't understand where she's coming from or I don't see the play or the setup, because we've all heard about somebody trying to do something or get a little bit extra time off of work or get this little money so they could do this in between and So I know it happens, but I just would maybe appreciate if she had given a little more context around it, because her words will be taken and spread, and someone that maybe doesn't understand the differences will take that and use it in ways that are not the greatest. And of course you can't help that, but it's what happens. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We get into that NFL player that was jacking and robbing fools. We'll get into all of that on the other side. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580 News and Sports. Next.
Champagne while I shop, hope I splurge foolish. Closing escrow twice this month, both commercial units. Damn, I wish my nigga Fast was here. How you died 30-something after banging all them years? Grammy nominated, in the sauna shedding tears. All this money, power, fame, and I can't make you reappear, but I'll wipe them though. We just embrace the only life we know. If it was me, I'd tell you to live your life and grow. I tell you finish where we started, reach them heights, And gas the V12 to the pipe and smoke. I was riding around in the V12 with the racks in the middle.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The man named Georgia Superintendent of the Year is now a finalist on the national level. The Georgia Superintendents Association named Dr. Fred Williams of Dublin City Schools as the 2024 winner, meaning he was automatically nominated to be National Superintendent of the Year. According to a release from Dublin City Schools, Dr. Williams, who is Black, is one of just 4 finalists for the honor out of more than 13,000 original candidates. The decision will be announced in San Diego in February. New York City Mayor Eric Adams plans to veto 2 bills if they're passed by the New York City Council. The council is considering legislation that would require the NYPD to record more encounters with the public and end solitary confinement in New York City jails. Mayor Adams, who is black, says he doesn't like the bills and he wants to continue to talk with council members, saying the idealism of a bill is different than how it plays out in reality. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Don't miss out on new deals every day during Lowe's 25 Days of Deals. Get a Werner 4-foot fiberglass stepladder. Was $59.98, now $29.98. Because Lowe's knows deals every day. Valid through 12/20 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey LA, save water and put money in your pocket with rebates from LA DWP. Start saving with free shower heads and faucet aerators. Then save with every flush when you upgrade to a water efficient toilet and get a $250 rebate. You can also save on every load of laundry with a high efficiency clothes washer and get a $500 rebate. That's right, LA DWP customers can get $500 rebates on qualifying clothes washers. See all the ways to save at ladwp.com/save. Meet LA's most affordable health plan. This open enrollment season, LA Care Covered is proud to offer the lowest cost health plans in Los Angeles County, featuring zero cost preventive services to help you achieve your wellness goals. Be part of the region's largest HMO network, featuring UCLA Health, Optum, and allied physicians without breaking the bank. We are here to help. Call us at 855-222-4239 for enrollment assistance. That's 855-222-4239. LA Care Covered. Your wellness, our mission.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions because we've got your black. Listen up. If you're one of the more than 100,000 California tenants who were rejected or delayed when applying for COVID rental assistance, you've got a second chance. Under the terms of a new settlement, California's Housing and Community Development Department agreed to audit its past denials. The program ended in March 2022, but the advocacy groups Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, Policy Link, and Strategic Actions for a Just Economy sued the department. According to the coalition's analysis of state data, the department rejected nearly 30% of all applicants. Under the settlement, the department agreed to clear all renters in the pipeline within 6 months. The settlement applies to anyone who sought assistance from the state's Housing is Key program before April 1st, 2022, whose applications is pending or was denied after June 6, 2022. Tenants who have questions about the status of their application can call the hotline at 833-430-2122. That's 833-430-2122. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with one of the panelists, the owner of Kids Love. Take a listen.
So Kids Love, KIDSLUV, is a first-to-market zero-sugar, vitamin-enhanced functional beverage for kids.
So the zero sugar is really important because if not, the sugar gets on the teeth, it can cause cavities. So as a mom, I love this vitamins and hydration in one. Tell us what's happening here with Chase Bank today.
So I would say, I think what Chase is trying to do is create a community actually for entrepreneurs, a place where people can go. They have the space to do it. It's a beautiful space. and to be able to have these conversations. There are so many benefits to being a women-owned and certified business, from a standpoint of getting into stores, not paying the slotting fees of what it takes to be in stores. So I think Chase is trying to bring awareness to a lot of the things that people just don't know about, that not only the bank can help, but outside of the bank, their relationships can help create.
That's beautiful. And I know, this is how we build equity in communities of color, is kind of spreading that information and that knowledge. So thank you for being here today and doing your part and letting these women know that it is possible.
For KBLA 1580, I'm Maisha Cairo in the community with Chase.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You know this is, boy, for real. The art of getting robbed. This is how we do Brooklyn style, boy. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. B.I.G. R.I.P. B.A.C. R.I.P. Enough of that, son. It's time to OD. One time. But y'all can take it how you want it. Hey, yo, the bottom line is, I'm a crook with a deal. If my record don't sell, I'm a rob and steal. You better recognize, dawg, I'm straight from the street. This industry cat starting to look like something to eat. I snatch Kim, tell Puff you wanna see her again. Dance your ass down to the nearest ATM. I have dreams of second the R&B check, but I wake up early and bounce with all the shit when I apply pressure. Son, it ain't even funny. I'm about to stick Bobby for some of that Whitney money. Brian McKnight, I can stick son anytime. Have keep sweating, staring down the barrel of my 9. Since these Harlem World cats seem to all be fam, I put the gun to Cardan, tell him tell your man, Macy better. Come up off that watch now. I mean right now, the only excuse for being broke is being in jail. An entertainer can't make bail, he broke as hell. I rob ODB, but that'd be a waste of time. Probably have to clap him, running towards the 9. I follow Fox in the drop for 4 blocks. Plotting the jokes up for that rock corrupt cop. What Jigga just sold, like 4 milli, got something to live for. Don't want a killer putting foe through that Bentley coupe dough. I manhandle case like dope, get on the ground. You ain't with Mary no more, where you getting chips from now? I've been scheming on Tone and Poke since they found me. Steve, don't have to wear that platinum jewels around me. I'm a klepto, not for real, son, I'm sick. I'm about to stick Slick Rick for all that old school shit. Right now I'm bent, when I get like this, I don't think about to make Stevie J take off that tight ass mink. A raw pun without a gun, snatch his piece and run. Yo, we weigh 400 pounds, how you gonna catch me, son? Huh? This ain't serious, being broke can make you delirious. So we rob and steal, so I once could be bigger. 50 Cent, I would feel the robber industry. Tell him, son, this
listen. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. That was 50 Cent's debut single, How to Rob. He got shot after that. The thing that's so crazy about that single is like being around hip hop at that time when this dropped, people were mad. Like it was serious. People really felt like, oh, dude is targeting us. Oh, it's a bullseye on our back. Like, people were really like, we have to go see son about this. I had to get my East Coast bag with the see son. 50 came in wreaking havoc. Been a troll day one. Day one troll. Perfected it. I feel like 6ix9ine tried to get on that, but nobody has done it like 50. How do you come in? And you think about, what is it, D-Dot Angeletti, I believe that's who the mad rapper was, going through that, it was a skit series that they did on a couple of albums too. So they took it and flipped it with 50. But most people that do something like this with the characterization, they automatically get pigeonholed into like a gimmick rapper or somebody that is doing, just punchlines and things of that nature. 50 was not. I mean, really think about what he's saying in that song. Like, Jay, what you got, like 4 million? You got something to live for. That sounds like how when the jackers come up to you and like, oh, you got that stuff on. Take that off. Really, it really sounded like what the street dudes say when they come up on you right before they relieve you of your items. Andy?
I think it was late 90s remixed street version of Biggie's Dreams.
It was. It very much was. Yep.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Yep. It very much was an updated, and it was a clever flip. Here's the thing. I'm going to get in my bag. And Kendi, I'm glad you checking in. You mentioned Eminem. Eminem is another one who came out with a parody, but he managed to move his stuff over to the more serious side. But, and obviously they all came under Dre. So it might be something to that. But what I also will say about 50 in that time frame in hip hop is that things were cohesive. Like there was a plan around it, a rollout. People are just out here now, shooting stuff off and not really thinking the things through. Not really, even if you don't have a label behind you or you're trying to build up. I know social credit is so big now, but still have an idea. I have a plan. You're leading them to somewhere. Is this a sales funnel? What are we doing?
That's the artist development right there we've been talking about right there.
Facts. Doesn't exist anymore. We've talked about that quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot to learn from the situation.
If I remember, and I could be wrong, I think 50 said it was a risk even dropping that record because, he was feared that maybe he'll be blackballed. But when Jay-Z, I guess, at a concert said, I'm about $1, what the hell is 50 Cent? He was like, oh, that's the moment where he knew that he made it.
Right, because he got the attention. He got the big dogs paying attention to him and mentioning his name. It was a bold move. It was a dangerous move, really, because some of those people, especially at that time, we've been revisiting the 90s over the past couple of weeks, a lot of fun, but there was some drama. Especially at that time period, you got to think, this also dropped after Big and Pac were killed because of hip-hop beef. That was the first time hip-hop beefs literally took out two of our major superstars within 6 months of each other. So it was very heightened. And once again, we're all oversaturated with, unfortunately, a lot of death and drama these days, but it wasn't rolling like that in I think this was 98 when it dropped out? I believe so. Fahima says it probably, I'm not sure. I think this is about Dr. Jackie. It probably is a whole story, home birth journey, saving black moms. I believe she's referencing, there was a CNN documentary that talked about the morality rate of, why do I keep saying morality? I guess I want to lift up the mortality rate of black mothers and, those numbers, and we're at crisis levels with that. So again, understand that hustlers and scammers, that is the way for a lot, not just black women, not just black people. A lot of people get in on the scheme, plot, but I just think that when we are in the dire circumstance where we are as far as healthcare and black women, we should provide more context in those conversations. That's all. That is my thought on that. 50, How to Rob, of course, because Andy's always on theme. That was dropped in because there is a former NFL star, actually an NFL Super Bowl hero, played on a team, one of the team that beat the Tom Brady New England Patriots that had not won, I think had not lost a game that year. Then they lost. Might be getting my little details mixed up. I'm gonna check it.
Former Eagle. Former Giant.
Former Giant. There you go. Former Giant from LA, Moreno Valley. Derek Ward. He was arrested for allegedly robbing several LA businesses. He's former NFL running back, right? And he's 43 years old. Law enforcement arrested him on Monday at 12:30. So here, it's important to note, these are not armed robbery. He did not utilize a gun. Sounds like it was strong arm robbery where just his intimidating presence and, give me the loot. He's 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. Allegedly, this is what they're accusing him of. Anyway, he was the 7th round draft pick to the Jets in 2004. He also spent time with the Giants. That's where he won the Super Bowl ring. Tampa Bay Bucks, Houston, Texas, 8-year career. He has been accused of robbing several gas stations in the LA area. That's sad, man. Very, very sad. At one point, he signed a $17 million contract. He played in 93 NFL games, 551 carries for 2,600 yards, 15 touchdowns, 12 of them rushing. In short, he had a decent career, right? Made some decent money. But we know the NFL is considered not for long. And if you are not responsible with your money, if you do not take great care in setting yourself up for the future, some things are going to happen. And then unfortunately for him, seems that he got desperate and took this route to try and make ends meet. So, at least no one was hurt. Allegedly.
So I got to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's somewhat relatable to this situation, right? So there was this debate online about they were comparing James Harden's career to Robert Ory's career, right?
Mm-hmm.
James Harden, no championships, but worth over 300 plus million.
Right.
Robert Ory, seven chips
rings.
would about made over maybe 50 something $50 million.
Right.
So in a situation with this gentleman who ended up having to rob folks, obviously, because he was probably, down. As a professional athlete, do you put forth wanting to get the bag over winning championship rings? Because, I'm assuming he wasn't obviously like a star player per se. So
right.
He,
decent career, solid,
But, do you, as an athlete, do you go for yourself and chase that bag as opposed to, you made it, you're a champion in life, forget the rings, I need that money?
I think realistically, everybody wants the money because it is a job, and you want to get paid for your job. Now, if you are in a position, first and foremost, let's not act like $50 million is not life-changing money. Because it is, right? We understand that the money is 3 times that now, actually more, probably 5 times that. But $50 million is nothing to turn your nose down at, right? You can change your life. You can change your family's life. So be it. I look at someone like Junior Bridgman, who played in the 70s and 80s in the offseason, started working at Wendy's, ended up buying some Wendy's franchises, ended up buying some car dealerships. He owns one, I can't remember all of the franchises, but he owns several, is a multi-millionaire businessman, way more than he ever did when he was in the league. He made essentially no money when he was in the league. He also bought Ebony magazine for his daughter, who now runs it, and things of that nature. So I feel like if you were smart and you were paying attention, Magic Johnson under Dr. Buss, Magic then became sort of the godfather, and lots of players came to him to get information about business or whatever. We see Shaq being that in some ways, currently passing the torch along that way. Obviously, LeBron has blazed a path. We know what Jordan did and what he meant to the game. I'm using a lot of basketball players, but obviously there's NFL players that can fit in the same boat. There are examples of how you can take, even if you were on a minimum salary. And I know it might be hard because there are a lot of expectations with these guys sometimes to take care of their whole family and those type of things. But I feel like, especially currently, there are more resources available to them, more ways in which they can track their money, lock up their money, put their money aside for when they are more educated and ready to take on that risk. Because we talked about with Antoine, most people think he gambled away his money or that he was spending it on designer stuff and things like that. It was just that he was doing the right thing, investing in properties, buying things of that nature. However, he wasn't managing them, and he didn't have the time to because he was just trying to focus on basketball. So it wasn't that his business managers robbed him. He said that they actually saved him because, they kept him so that he didn't lose everything in what happened. And, he's since come back from that. But I think that I know people come from various backgrounds, and financial literacy isn't something that we're taught or understood, and you're coming into all of this money. But what I also know is that there are a lot of resources there. And if you don't know, there are people, don't trust the man at the bank. you got a teammate or a homie that knows a big homie that's a teammate or so forth, in the league that can give you some game and you can make better choices.
I don't know if it's being done already, but they need to also have something for retired athletes as well too.
They do.
Do they?
This is the thing. And again, it's getting better. All of the leagues have a retired players portion of. That's part of what these players associations are. They set aside health care benefits for them. They have their pensions and so forth. Like even all of these players, even if they go completely broke in theory, they still will have access to their pensions when they get of age. But there could be, if you stop playing at 31, 32 years old and you can't touch your pension till you're 55, that is a lot of time in between. Also consider the women that you're marrying. We've been having a lot of conversation about these type of things, but seriously, would you feel if you get married and then divorce and your wife or your ex-wife is taking half of your pension? That's real life. It happens. So I understand that we all didn't grow up in the same way or having the same access, but I feel like in a lot of ways that is poor excuse in the age of the internet. You getting ideas and conspiracy theories off TikTok. Why can't you go get a little bit of financial input as well? I'm just saying. It's possible. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into these comments on YouTube. I see you guys in there, and I'm going to respond to you next. You are locked in. It's RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Here's to a holiday season full of peace, joy, and happiness. Happy Kwanzaa from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, yeah, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Boom, 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 boom.
Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we got to get to the YouTube chat. As I always tell you, it is active in there. The comments are going. So, Pretty Brown Mimi, she mentioned a CNN documentary. She said it was The Whole Story Home Birth Journey Saving Black. And it was hosted by Abby Phillip, and she said it was a powerful show. Again, Black women as far as maternity and their health is an important topic. And I hope that it is something that we hear more about and that, more doctors can get in the conversation. I don't fault Dr. Jackie for her thoughts. I just wish a little bit more care had been exercised and how she expressed them and a little more context around it. Kendi says he doesn't feel sorry for Derek Ward. Tony Yayo says dude was a running back, not a lot of dollars. The running back position has been devalued, especially over the past 10 to 15 years. It definitely isn't what it used to be. It definitely doesn't hold. There's some teams we've talked about that, not we per se, but people have talked about how there are teams that could benefit more from utilizing their running back and saving their QB as far as, being vulnerable, being exposed, saving. You don't want your QB necessarily running all those times, running all over the field, but that's neither here nor there. It's a change. Every game evolves. Just like basketball has sort of evolved from positions. What's the difference between a shooting guard and a small forward? I know in theory, we know height, but you look at somebody, there's a lot of tall now. But again, the game evolves. Things change as we move on. Tony Yayo also adds that his $17 million was not guaranteed. Since he got released, only $4.5 million was guaranteed. Yeah, NFL contracts are not like MLB or NBA, where they are fully guaranteed for the amount. There are a lot of incentives in them. And really, if I was an NFL player, which I'm not and never could be or would be, I don't know if that would be my pick, because they have the last of the benefits. How can you say that about something that the average salary is over $1 million? But really, they do. They kind of get messed up with some of the things that they allow, but that's their union. I'm sure they'll get it together. Ray Alexander asks, do you believe that having more black agents will help black players keep their money and avoid bankruptcy, since 70% of NFL players are black? I think that it is a matter of working with people with integrity and honesty. You need to do a little bit of homework on your end and understand what is being presented to you, because just because someone black is presenting something to you does not mean that they don't have the ability to mess you over too, right? So you have to, and I know it's hard because there's so many things coming at you. Maybe you instill first of all the leagues and the players associations have resources for these guys, right? Understand the trust factor, again, may not be there. That's why I said, talk to your other players. Also, you can absolutely say, hey, I want to defer this conversation till the summer, until I have some free time and space where I can get into this. Because when I'm in season, all I want to do is focus on what's going on in season. So, we'll have to see what develops with that. Ray also asks, do you believe that the HBCU law schools could partner with the NBA and NFL Players Associations to start sports agent law programs in order to produce more black sports agents? I think something like that is in some way in existence to a degree, probably not as formal as you would like, but I think that is an amazing idea. We certainly would want to see more of that. So when we come forward, we're going to get into another NFL connection, another reality TV show connection. This time, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And we're going to talk about this thing about rating women. Do you guys rate women outside of it? Not, ooh, they look good, they're attractive. Do you give them number ratings? We're going to talk a little bit about that. And of course, more trending topics and headlines, all of that. I got a Dwight Howard update. Lots of, like I said, legal files. We're going to get into that too. On the other side, you are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe and KBLA Talk 1580 News and Sports. Up next.
The coroner's picking them up. Heavy tried to hide his jewels. Hey man, I saw you. He said, why you robbing me? I got nothing but love for you. Caught Juvenile for his cash money piece. Told him I want it all. He said, even my gold teeth. I caught Black Street on a back street in the black Jeep. One at a time. Get out and take off your shine. Did you ever think that you would be this rich? Did you ever think that you would have these hits? Did you ever think that I'd flash the 9 and walk off with your like it's mine? I'ma keep